What's going on, Cougar fans? Peter Borkowski here, joined by Troy Prattley on the Cougar Sports Network as we're here in Geisman Gymnasium getting ready for some Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference women's volleyball action between your Concordia University Chicago Cougars and the visiting Regents of Rockford University. But Troy, let's break down these two teams a little bit. Let's start with your Cougars coming into today 4-5, 0-1 in conference play. And Troy, they're coming off a weekend at the Wheaton College Tournament. They went 1-2 in that tournament, picking up a win against Maryville. However, they dropped games to Bethel and Manchester.
Yeah, you got it. And those drops to Bethel and Manchester came in 3 straight sets, as well as the win versus Marysville College. So some quick, painless sets there, 9 straight sets in and out of the tournament. But one player we'd like to highlight, Isabel Vernango.
Yeah, Vernango, 78 assists across those 3 games. She made the Wheaton College Tournament all-tournament team. And Troy, she's been here 4 years now. She's a senior, and she's been doing this her whole career. She's such a pivotal part of this offense.
Absolutely, and she does come into the conference in 3rd in assists per set. So we're looking for her to be good again, as she always has been.
Right. She is the quarterback of the offense, as head coach Andrew Palmer described her. Let's talk a little bit about Rockford now. 3-3 coming into today, 0-1 in conference play as well. And Troy, they're coming off a difficult loss against Concordia University of Wisconsin. That was a 3-0 loss for the Regents.
Yeah, it was, and none of those sets were particularly close, so a rough outing there for the Regents. But I'd like to highlight the match before that versus Mount Mary University. They pulled away with a 3-1 victory. And a player we'd like to highlight there, Amelia Rodriguez, a real bright spot for the Regents. She comes in, she led that game in kills as well as blocks, and she comes in 4th in the conference in kills for the Regents. So we'll be looking for her as a bright spot for Rockford tonight.
Yeah, Rodriguez, one of the best players on this Rockford offense. Really quick on that CUW game. Mentioned none of those sets were particularly close. The closest one was 25-16. So Rockford's got a little bit of bouncing back to do as they come to Concordia tonight. But let's go over some history real quick. All time, the Cougars, they've absolutely dominated this series. 25-4 all time. And the Cougars, Troy, they've won the last 24 matchups against the Regents, including a 3-0 sweep of the Regents at Rockford last year. So hoping to see the Cougars pull off some history repeat here tonight. But Troy, we know what these teams have done. We know what they've done in the past. Let's talk about what are keys to the game. Troy, in your words, what do the Cougars need to do to get a win here tonight against Rockford, even up their conference record?
Well, last time we were here in Geisman, we saw the Cougars jump out to a really hot start against Wisconsin Lutheran, and they beat them in that first set. But we saw it taper off from there as Wisconsin Lutheran came back to win the next 3. So really looking for the Cougars to be active tonight early, but also often, and kind of get on that second and that third set is going to be where the Cougars need to focus tonight to control a win.
Most definitely. Well, for my key, it's all about defense, Troy. We see that this team, when they do block, this is a very successful team. It's just the Cougars do rank towards the bottom of the NAC stats in terms of blocks per sets and digs per set. So that defense is going to have to take a little uptick here tonight if they want to pull off a conference win.
Absolutely. Got to know where Amelia Rodriguez is at all times and get hands up to help the defense, no doubt.
That's right. Well, Cougars taking on Regents here in Geisman Gymnasium. We're just a few minutes away from opening serve, but first, we're going to send it down to the court for national anthem and starting lineups. But right before that, we got a quick message from President of Concordia University Chicago, Dr. Russell Dawn.
Hello, I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
Well, the starting lineups have been read, so let's go through it one more time for all of those watching at home. First, for the visiting Regents of Rockford, the libero is number 5, Bryn Atwall. At middle blocker, number 2, Alexis Brashaw. At opposite hitter, number 8, Tamsy Leverton. At outside hitter, number 12, Melody Moreno. At opposite side hitter, number 14, Alex Burton. At middle hitter, number 16, Mia Rodriguez. And at setter, number 25, Savannah Crooks. Meanwhile, for your Concordia University Chicago Cougars, at libero, it is number 8, Shira Marin. At outside hitter, number 1, Acacia Brown. And outside hitter, number 5, Kate Foley. Middle blocker, number 4, the freshman, Kirsten Brockhurst. At setter, number 7, Isabel Vernango. And outside hitter, number 12, Grace Haywood. And at defensive specialist, number 22, Katie Heidel. And Troy, something that we both pointed out after those starting lineups were read is this is a pretty different look for Coach Palmer and his squad, at least that we've seen here in Geisman. A couple newer faces on the court who we aren't used to seeing on the court to start games usually.
Yeah, it is a different lineup, so we'll see. Likely it was a defensive move, as we talked about pregame. The Cougars did not have a great defensive game the last time out versus Wisconsin Lutheran College, so we're looking for the Cougars to bounce back defensively, and this may be Coach Palmer's answer here with this new lineup.
Yeah, bringing out another defensive specialist on the court in Katie Heidel, a sophomore out of St. Charles, Illinois, St. Charles East High School. Kirsten Bockhurst, she's on the bench right now. She got subbed in for by the libero Marin, but the freshman getting a start here as well. Bockhurst, she's played 13 sets so far this year, while Heidel, she's at 23. The rest of the starting core looks about as usual for the Cougars, with Foley, Brown, Vernango, Haywood, and Marin, as the first serve from Savannah Crooks is off, and we are underway here in Geisman Gymnasium. Kate Foley, her first attempt of the night goes nowhere, stopped there by Rockford. Here's an attempt from Melody Moreno. Cougars on top, and Acacia Brown make sure they're on top of the score as well. Puts it over the net and on the ground for point number one. 1-0 Cougars, as Troy, we got another freshman coming in here to serve, number 13, Rachel Livesay. Livesay's serve will end up a service ace, as Rockford cannot return it. And Livesay back to serve. Livesay, Troy, a name I know men's volleyball fans are familiar with. Her brother Chris played on the men's volleyball team for his whole career, graduated at the end of last season, and his little sister right now has got 2 service aces in a row.
Yeah, a player that we didn't see in action against WLC last week, so good to see her out here in this first set early.
Rockford trying to get on the board. They can't yet. Nice play there by Katie Heidel. And the Cougars, however, cannot stop the putback. Rockford gets on the board here. They trail 3-1.
Yeah, it looked like that ball may have been traveling out of bounds, but unfortunately, Heidel did make a good effort on it.
So serve here from Melody Moreno, played by Heidel. Now Vernango to Haywood. Heidel, a nice one-handed play to keep it alive after the block up front. Rockford blocked up front. Acacia Brown shuts the door and gets the Cougars the ball right back. They're up 4-1 now.
That's exactly what the Cougars needed to see right away out of Acacia Brown. A kill early and a block early in the first 4 points. So a hot start for her.
Acacia Brown was instrumental in the Cougars' only win here at Geisman so far this year. That was that Lake Forest game. Had 8 total blocks as well as double-digit kills. However, this one results in a Rockford point. They pull within 2 now, 4-2.
Yeah, it looked like Brown was a little unsure there. Went after it kind of half-heartedly and unfortunately fell to the ground for the Cougars.
Nia Rodriguez's serve turns into a point, as Rockford all of a sudden just within 1 now, 4-3. This was a Cougars team up 3-0 at one point. Rockford on a 3-1 run since then. Rodriguez's next serve. Vernango goes to Haywood, and she gets the kill. Off the blocker's hands and out. Cougars back up by a pair.
Cougars going to Haywood early like we expected.
Haywood, as per usual, leading this team in kills with 128 on the year, 3.76 per set. Always towards the top of the NAC leaderboards in that category after her record-breaking year last season. As Vernango's going to go to Haywood again. This one blocked up front. Rachel Livesay's right there. And now a strong attack from Lily Hunt. It goes out, so point on Rockford. As Troy, we're already seeing kind of a different coaching style from Coach Palmer here today, just in terms of the substitution numbers. We've seen him in the past here at Geisman be kind of stingy with who he's bringing in and out of the game. But today, so far in this first set, we only got 9 points total, but he has no problem revolving players in and out.
Yeah, you got it. We have 10 players that have seen action so far in the first 9 points here.
Rockford now on the offensive. That is a strong attempt off the hands of Alex Burton. No tip, so point CUC up to, once again, 6-4.
You mentioned Haywood coming into this game. Grace Haywood's 4th in the conference in kills per set with 3.76. And she's going to serve here right to left on your screen.
Cougars wearing their home maroon uniforms with gold numbering. Marin, the libero, in the white jersey. Meanwhile, Rockford in their traveling purples with white stripes on gray sleeves. The libero, Bryn Atwall, wearing an all-white jersey with purple striping down the sides. As serving again, it is Grace Haywood. Cougars up 7-4 here early in set 1. A weird play there from Jasmine Landberg. Rockford able to still get it over the net with a tip. Here comes Kate Foley. That one is stopped by Burton. Now Burton will just send the ball over. Vernango to Marin. That's an errant pass on Marin's part. So point Rockford back within 2, 7-5.
Yeah, Burkhorst was there to receive that second hit. Shira kind of came in late, which is why that play ended up a little bit awkward there.
Serving is Kira Ross, the sophomore defensive specialist. She'll get a point out of it as Rockford pulls this one back within 1 now as Ross back to serve. Kira Ross out of Dodge Center, Minnesota. In her second collegiate season as her serve. A high arc. Grace Haywood gets under it. Here comes Kate Foley with the attack. It's blocked up front, and Rockford can't get under it in time. Cougars back up by a pair. And Troy, we've seen that a couple of times now. Anytime that Rockford, they pull within 1, the CUC is able to get that difference back up to a multi-point game. They haven't relinquished the lead yet since they took it.
Absolutely. That's something we'll look for the Cougars to continue on as this game progresses.
Well, Rockford will pull back within 1. That ball off the hands, the top of the hands of Isabel Vernango and out. So to serve here is Atwell, senior defensive specialist playing libero tonight. As here comes Lily Hunt right at Atwell, and she can't make the play on it.
One of the better swings we've seen there out of Hunt.
Yeah, Hunt decided to go right at Atwell and did what you want to do, which she put it down by her feet. Atwell couldn't get low enough for it. Just a perfect attack there from Lily Hunt. And the Cougars back up by 2.
Hunt does come in 9th in the conference in hitting percentage at .250.
Yeah, Lily Hunt coming off a very impressive freshman season. She's been getting kind of a different role so far this year as she has a more offensive responsibilities compared to last year where she was primarily a middle blocker. Still listed as that on the roster, but gained some looks on hittering as well. As Kate Foley goes down, Isabel Vernango keeps it up with the hand. Great defensive play from CUC, blocked up front now. Rockford still on the offensive. Shira Marin almost up to the ceiling. Vernango under it. Here comes Haywood. Atwell, she's there. Saving it from the net was Layla Cooks. We're still going here in CUC, but not anymore. Kate Foley, the killing blow, and CUC ends a long volley.
That was good volleyball there by both teams. A couple blocks, a couple nice digs, a couple nice swing on the ball. But it is the Cougars, like you mentioned, not giving up the lead and just pulling 1 by 1. 10-7 now.
Katie Heidel, her serve is over and out. Point Rockford, expertly called out there by Atwell. Rockford back within a pair. 10-8 your score here in set 1. Coming in and going to the service line is Savannah Crooks, one of the starters from today, sophomore setter. As her serve played by Marin. Vernango to Foley. Foley sends it across. Crooks can't get under it well enough. It goes out of bounds. Point CUC.
You mentioned the new faces we've seen for the Cougars. The Regions have played just as many here in this first set. They are at 10 participants as well early, so both teams headed to the bench.
This one hits the top of the net and stays for a second. CUC able to control it afterwards. Could have been a tricky ball to handle, as there's a one-handed attempt from Livesey. Gets too much in front of it, not under it. Dies down for the Rockford point. 11-9 CUC on top. Serving is Moreno, junior out of El Paso, Texas. As this reception from Hadel goes into the crowd. Moreno gets the service ace, and the Cougars only up by a point now. 11-10 as Grace Haywood says that's not going to fly in her house. Gets a strong kill and puts the Cougars up by 2 once again.
What do you do when you need a point the most?
You go to your star player in Grace Haywood. But I think we also see, Troy, and we noted this in the last matchup we had here in Geisman, is that Coach Palmer is looking to diversify this offense. As good as Grace Haywood is, any competent defense can catch up to her, can shut her down. So you need to have that second, that third, that fourth option. And Coach Palmer is really trying to find those options so Grace Haywood doesn't have to carry all of the offense.
Absolutely, and that's what we saw last time out against WLC is Haywood was strong early, but then they were kind of teeing off as the day kind of went on.
So CUC receives this serve. Haywood, a strong attack. It's blocked up front. Rockford somehow keeps it alive. A falling dig from Alex Burton. We're not done yet. Rockford back in control here. This one popped up by Livesey. Vernango under it, sends it to the middle of the court. Livesey, a back row attack. It's no good. Here comes Rockford over the blocker's hands. Following is Katie Heidel. Vernango pops it up from Bockhurst. Bockhurst, her attempt goes nowhere. Now Rockford, they send a freebie over. Vernango, a clean setup to Haywood, and Haywood does what Grace Haywood does, gets the kill off the blocker's hands. What a set we just saw there. And Troy, that's a big point for the Cougars, just in terms of we're not looking at a tied game, and it was a long set. It's always good to get that kill at the end of them.
Absolutely. A couple nice plays there by Livesey, by Bockhorst. Good set by Vernango, and a good kill by Grace Haywood.
Marin, she gets a hand on it, and it goes back to Haywood, a rocket, and this one ends up in the stands. Grace Haywood, Troy, I think she's starting to find her groove a little bit here. Another kill. Cougars up 14-11 now.
And that is Haywood's 5th kill here and just 14 points.
Isabel Vernango to serve. Vernango to the back row. Blocked up front, brick wall. Kirsten Bockhurst and Lily Hunt. Cougars get a point off the block. They're up by 4 now, 15-11.
This seems to be a much more complete set than what we saw against WLC last time we were here at Geisman. The things we said the Cougars needed to focus on, we see them really emphasize here and perform well early on.
Going down to one knee for it is Vernango. She gets there. Lily Hunt, a rocket of attempt. A little too much sauce on that one as it goes out the back of the court. Rockford able to get a point back, and this 3-0 run for CUC. 15-12 is our score now. Coming in to serve is Jasmine Landberg, another Texas product on this Rockford team. Out of Carrollton, excuse me. As Grace Haywood sends it to Melody Moreno. Blocked up front, Bockhurst and Haywood. Bockhurst, she got a hand on it, and Lily Hunt behind herself gets the dig. Rockford back in control of the ball now. This one is towing. It's almost pancaked by Isabel Vernango.
I think it was pancaked.
Vernango's arguing that, as well as Coach Palmer. But the line official says no good. The ladder official, excuse me, Zachary Wills. Antoine Jackson, the far side net official, and then watching the lines are Kendra Cornelison and Russ Vondra.
Jackson and Coach Palmer there exchanging some words there, communicating about that last call.
Rockford going on a mini run of their own. They're back within one, 15-14. As to serve is Landberg. Marin, here comes Renango, pops it up for Haywood. A strong attack, and it stays in the lines. A point off the block for Rockford, and we are evened up here at 15.
Yeah, a couple unlucky breaks there for the Cougars that the Regions do take advantage of. It will be Landberg to serve again, and
it goes out, so CUC able to get it right back. Lucky break there for the Cougars. We were momentarily tied for the first time since the opening 0-0 score. CUC able to retake it as both teams within 10 points of that magic number 25. Haywood to serve. Haywood's serve is over. Atwell. And going in for the kill is the middle blocker, Alexis Brashaw. Brashaw, a junior out of Dakota, Illinois. A strong kill, and we are knotted up once again at 16. Serve here. Kate Foley to Isabel Vernango. Here comes Lily Hunt off the blocker's hands, right to the hands of Kira Ross. She's able to dig it. Here comes Vernango now to Haywood. Kind of a bad angle on that one, and for the first time tonight, Rockford, they take the lead here in set one. Going back to serve for the team in purple is Ross, played by Foley, and a huge shot there from Alexis Brashaw. She says it's yam time, slams it down, and Rockford now up 18-16. And that's going to force a timeout from Coach Palmer of CUC as his Cougars, who were up all of this set one, now find themselves down 18-16. So as Coach Palmer talks things over, we're going to take a break here in the booth as well. When we come back in a second, Cougars, Rockford, they'll resume action.
Hey Cougar fans, thanks for tuning into today's game. For more information about the women's volleyball program, head to cucougars.com. We hope to see you at our next game.
About 20 seconds left in this timeout, and Troy Rockford up 18-16 now after trailing most of that first set. And I know you don't want the players thinking it, but you got to think it's in their back of the mind, that first set against WLC. Now the Cougars ended up winning that set, but just the fact that the Cougars led for most of that set and WLC made a late push at the very, very end, ended up winning the match. And now Rockford, they're making this late push. They happen to have the lead, though. As Kate Foley is unable to do anything with that one. But they're going to, point Rockford at 19-16 now after the violation from Foley. Ross, her serve is within the lines. And Troy, that's something else we've talked about, is that communication from the Cougars. Calling balls in and out was kind of iffy against WLC. We see her rear its ugly head again there.
Yeah, I think that's a play. That one's definitely going out there. Everybody communicated on that one. Well, the one before that, that's a play, ball's coming right at Haywood, and you trust her to make those calls, and she knows obviously she got that one wrong, but that's a play, it's just her on the island there with the ball coming at her, so she'll make that play correctly more times than she won't.
Well, Lily Hunt, and she's going to hit the pin, so point Rockford as they're up 21-17 now. Cougars, they find themselves trailing by 4. They got some work to do after leading for most of this match. And Rockford, another point, 22-17. Coach Palmer and the Cougars still have one timeout left, and they're going to use it right there, right as I mention it. So another timeout for Coach Palmer as his team trails Rockford 22-17. We're going to keep it here right now. And Troy, we've seen a big turn of events here through this first set. Maybe not that shocking considering Rockford was in it for most of the set, only trailing by 1 or 2 most of the time. But, I mean, what has the big change been in your eyes? What has allowed Rockford to take this lead back? Or maybe it's the opposite. What have the Cougars been doing kind of lackluster compared to what they were doing at the start of the set that made them relinquish that lead?
Well, I think Rockford's playing really steady volleyball right now. We haven't seen anything too crazy, but they're not making those simple and common mistakes, whereas they're just putting pressure on the Cougars, and the Cougars are making those mistakes. We've seen a couple communications things. We've seen 2 times we've gone after balls that were headed out of bounds. So just that kind of stuff, working through those communication and simple mistakes. So, if you're Rockford here, you're just saying, let's keep putting pressure on them, keep putting pressure on them, keep putting the ball on their side of the court. And as it goes right now, the Cougars are making mistakes on those type of plays. So you're Concordia, you're coming out of the timeout trying to settle down, get back in this, kind of make it like a 23-21 if you can here real quick, and then play to 25.
Well, Troy, you mentioned the errors. The Cougars are sitting at 8 errors on the night already compared to Rockford's just 3. So the Cougars do need to clean this up a little bit. As that one hits the top of the net, and Rockford puts it right back over every Cougar defender. And they're now just 2 away from taking set 1. This is a Rockford team. They did not win a set against Concordia, Wisconsin. The closest set in that game was 25-16. As the Cougars are in desperation mode here. They get a point off the service error as Katie Heidel checks in now to serve herself.
Yeah, that last play before the serve, just a really heads-up play there by the Regent. Saw the almost entire Cougar defense up near the 10-foot line and was able just to put it over towards that back left corner for the kill.
50-50 ball at the net. Rockford gets control of it as they send it over. Whistle blown, however. 2-touch rule called on the Regents. So the Cougars, they get another point back. Closing in on the Regents.
That's what we said Rockford didn't need to do and wasn't doing, but we've seen back-to-back kind of errors and mistakes on their part without putting the ball in play for the Cougars.
23-19 our score here as Rockford gets another point. That ball just in front of Katie Heidel. She couldn't do much on it. And Rockford, they have set point now, 24-19 here in set 1.
Yeah, the attack just kind of soft there up over the blocks, and kind of one of those bloopers into no man land in baseball. It's like wasn't a hard hit ball, but got the job done.
Hit it where they ain't, as the Cougars need to get it over. They do, thanks to Shida Marin. Rockford now on the attack, blocked up front, sent back by Rockford. Isabel Vernango now to Kate Foley. It's blocked again. Foley pushes this one over. Rockford in control. Here comes Rockford's attack. Falling down to her knees to get it is Haywood. Kate Foley trying to end this volley, and she does. Off the forearms of Kira Ross. And the Cougars, they're within 4 now. They need to score 4 straight points here to stay alive.
Yeah, Vernango setting up Foley back-to-back there. She was able to get the second one down off of the Regent defender.
Rachel Livesay, her serve is good. Here comes Rockford, blocked up front. Cougars get the rebound. Grace Haywood, an absolute rocket. Ross is right there. Not many people could stop those shots. Ross was able to. Haywood, another try. This one off the top of the net. Ross gets to it again. Here comes Rockford now. Some settled offense. Falling for it is Livesay and Marin. Cougars get it back over. Blocked up front. Marin is there. Fernango, she sets up Haywood. A shot there to Ross in the back row. And here's a sneak attack from Rockford. Cougars catch on to it, however. Rockford still on the offensive. Katie Heidel. And tripping was Fernango. She's still able to get it. She's laughing about it. Rockford now. Heidel pops it up. And Haywood gets it over. What a volley we have here. Rockford trying to close this set, and they almost do there. Cougars. Tons of fight in this volley. It's almost comical at this point. Rachel Livesay, Isabel Fernango. Here comes Haywood, blocked up front. Rockford, they're not done just yet. Oh my goodness, we're going to have a timer on this one. I think we have to somewhere. Rockford, this one is pushed out, and finally, CUC gets the point. Troy, I think we have a new Geisman record.
I would like to know what that was. I'm not sure that we keep track of stats like that, but we probably should now. Let's look into that.
I think we'll be able to go back to the YouTube footage and just find how long that was. Cougars able to come out on top, though. They're still down by 3, however. Make that down by 2. Attack error from Melody Moreno, and that's going to force a timeout for Rockford as the Cougars are creeping back on the Regents, 24-22. Rockford on top of CUC. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be back in just a minute on the Cougar Sports Network.
We love the support you give us on and off the field. To donate to our athletic communications department, hit the thank you button below. This helps us continue to have the best live stream possible for some great Cougar volleyball moments. Thank you and enjoy the game.
Players making their way back out onto the court from the timeout. CUC. They needed 4 straight points to tie this one up. They need more than 4 points, excuse me. And now they're just 2 away from knotting this one up and forcing some extra volleyball. Rachel Livesay to serve. Her serve is good. Atwell is there. Crooks is there. This one a 50-50 ball towards the net. More on Rockford's side, so the Regents, they play it. Here comes Acacia Brown, a strong attack. Is it out? It is. And that'll do it for set number 1. Rockford, they take it 25-22. Cougars didn't go down without some fight, but Troy, I'm sure Coach Palmer will have plenty to talk about with this team after the Regents take this first set, again, 25-22. So as the team switch sides, we're going to take another break here on the Cougar Sports Network. And when we're back in a few minutes, we'll have set 2 action for you as Rockford up 1-0 on the Cougars here in the Cougar Sports Network.
CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces, a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
Back here in the Eastman Gymnasium as we're about ready for set 2 action between your Concordia University Chicago and the visiting Regents of Rockford University. Rockford on top of the Cougars 1-0 after a 25-22 set victory. Troy, let's hear what stood out to you about that first set. Again, it was a set the Cougars led for the majority of. Rockford coming back towards the end, able to claim the set. They're up 1-0 now because of it.
Yeah, I think it's something we talked about in the pregame show, and it kind of came to life there in that first set, and that's the errors by the Cougars. 9 of them in that first set versus the Rockford Regents 5. At one point it was 8-3. We saw Rockford with a couple of them late that allowed the Cougars to jump back into it. But I think that's really the focus for probably both of these teams right now in that huddle. It's coming back and trying to play as mistake-free volleyball as you possibly can and really put the pressure on the opposing team early and see kind of what happens off of that. We saw for the Regents, again, Mia Bradshaw at .600 hitting percentage. That was number 1 for the Regents, but also in the set and match so far. For the Cougars, Kate Foley at .33 hitting percentage, and only Grace Haywood in the positives for the Cougars as well. So only 4 players total in the positive hitting percentage, 2 for both teams, Liverton, Bradshaw for Rockford, and Foley and Haywood for the Cougars.
Well, and we do have our final time from that never-ending volley, 1:17, because that's what I clocked watching it back on our YouTube page, CUC Sports. A very impressive test of endurance from both squads. Cougars able to come out on top at the end as we have some delay here in the start of set 2. Some final preparations as Katie Heidel will officially start it for the Cougars with her first serve of the set. Cougars looking to rebound after a set 1 loss. Rockford looking to put CUC in that dreaded 2-0 hole as we get underway here with set 2. And it begins with a Katie Heidel service error. Rockford up 1-0.
Not the ideal start there for the Cougars, but it's still early, only 1-0.
Vernango, here comes Foley, off some blockers' hands. It's still alive. Atwell, she kicked it to keep it up, using every part of her body to keep the streak going, and Rockford ends it with a point. Haley Atwell, some heads-up volleyball, maybe some foot-up volleyball if you want to go it with that way.
I'll go with it. I like it.
Kicking her right leg out to get a piece of the ball and keep it alive as Rockford finally allows CUC to get on the board. Cougars trail 2-1 here early in set 2.
Some pretty good energy in here, Geisman, tonight. We've got a decent showing with the crowd, but the Regents are fired up tonight.
Yeah, Rockford 0-1 after they are swept by CU Dub in conference play. Looking to even up that record. Concordia in a similar spot, though. Lost to WLC over a week ago, 3-1. They're 0-1 as well, as they now trail Rockford 3-1 in this set. Not Haley Atwell, the actress. Bryn Atwell, Rockford libero, checks out of the game as here comes Grace Haywood. A strong block up front. It goes out of bounds. However, CUC gets the point. 3-2 the score in favor of the Regents. Checking in now is Bethany Rothel for CUC, listed as a libero on the roster. Obviously because of Shia Marin getting the start today at libero. Rothel having to play another position. Rothel we have seen at libero, though, that last home game against WLC. As there's a tip over the net from Bradshaw. Heidel responds. Bradshaw tries to dunk it down. Cougars, they're right there on top of it. As here's a flip by Vernango, and it catches the Regents sleeping. Alex Burton got a piece of it. Not enough, as we got a new game here in set 2, 3-3.
Last time against WLC, we saw Rothel come in as the libero later in maybe the fourth set or so. This time she's into serve. This is the second time we've seen her into serve.
That one results in an error as Rockford retakes the lead 4-3. Marin checks in, as does Brown for Rothel. And then Brown checks out for Marin. So Coach Palmer getting his rotations right here as serving is Jasmine Landberg. A stand-up serve, no jump required. She gets it over. Grace Haywood, a strong attack. It's blocked down, inbounds. Rockford up by a couple now, 5-3.
Something I'd like to see here from the Cougars now. We see Haywood get blocked. Bockhorst does come in with a .476 hitting percentage, so we might look to see Vernango set her actually right here. There it is.
Well, Bockhorst tried it. Atwell stopped it. But Troy playing some Tony Romo and predicting the future on that one. As Cougars get the point in the end. Vernango back to serve. 5-4 the score in favor of the Regents in set two. They're up 1-0 in the match. A strong serve from Vernango. Rockford gets under it. And that hits the top of the net off the hand of Burton. CUC in control again. Blocked, however, not for long as Rockford slams it down. 6-4 the score. Thanks in large part to Alexis Brashaw. She's playing some good volleyball right now. 3 kills, that leads Rockford players. Also has 3 blocks. So number 2 in purple doing some good work on the front line of defense. Atwell now hands it off for Moreno. Livesay, her pass a little too close to the net for Vernango to do anything with. So it's 7-4 now.
Vernango a long way to run there. She's kind of down here towards the bottom of the screen and had to run towards the top of the CUC logo there.
As that's going to be a service ace for Kira Ross, as Cougars trying to gather themselves here, down 8-4 against Rockford. Livesay for Vernango. Here comes Haywood, a strong attack. Did it go off some hands? It did not. Point Rockford, 9-4. Number 1, Kira Ross serving again. Livesay, Haywood, an errant pass. Eve Dickin keeps it in, however, whistle blown, 4-touch rule called. And that's going to force an early timeout here from Andrew Palmer. His squad down 10-4 at the hands of the Regents in the second set, already down 1-0 in the match. So they'll take a break just like we will here in the booth. When we come back, we'll have more set 2 action for you on the Cougar Sports Network. About 15 seconds left on the timeout clock, and Troy Rockford, they're already out on the court. You can tell these players are loose. They're having a good time. Number 17 down there doing the Cotton Eye Joe. That is Colleen Douglas. Meanwhile, the Cougars, they had a little bit more to talk about because they trailed the Regents 10-4, as Kira Ross is not done at the service line just yet.
Well, Peter, we saw 9 errors by the Cougars in the first set. We considered that to be a decent amount. Well, we've seen 4 here so far, so the Cougars have as many errors as they do points in this second set.
It's Grace Haywood. She's blocked up front. Livesay from Marin. Eve Dickin has to go get it. Batted back off the hands of Layla Cooks. And the Cougars end the bleeding there. Stop a 5-0 scoring run. And that lead now is at 5. Still in favor of the visiting team in purple, as back to serve is Grace Haywood.
It's a good effort play there by Eve Dickin to get that third hit over for the Cougars, resulting in the point. We didn't see her in the first set, but we do hear in the second.
The junior out of St. Louis, Missouri, getting the call from the bench as Coach Palmer looking for some solutions, as Kate Foley provides one there with the kill. Going back to serve is Grace Haywood again. During the last time out, Troy, we also got another stat from that minute plus volley from set 1. 48 total touches on it, which you don't even have to be a volleyball expert to know that is a lot of touches for one volley. As Eve Dickin hit the pin on that attempt. 4-touch rule, caught on the Cougars. That ends up being the violation. Rockford back up by 5, 11-6.
Dickin sent the ball into the net, kind of back into Concordia territory without the Regents ever getting a hand on the ball.
Here comes Foley off the blocker's hands to the back row in Atwell. Here comes Rockford again. Vernango pops it up. Marin, she just sends a freebie over, as that attempt from Cooks goes nowhere. Eve Dickin, she's blocked at the front. Bockhurst to Vernango to Foley. It's not down yet. We're still going, and Cooks, she just hits the net on that attempt, an error. And CUC catching a break. They're back within 4.
Yeah, we've seen Cooks try to do that a few times in the first set, and that was the second time just in that rally alone. She tried to find the corner of the Cougars' defense and catch them sleeping. She got the Cougars early in the first set, but could not right there as Marin serves.
Yeah, Cooks a little too close to the net for that to fly. As Vernango looks for Dickin, a block, and it goes out off the hands of the blocker Moreno for a CUC point. 11-8. Rockford up as CUC slowly crawling back in this one. It was 10-6 at one point. 10-4 at one point. As the Cougars back within 3 now. 11-8. Blocked up front. Might have just hit the net as well. Either way, it results in a CUC point. That attempt from Mia Rodriguez. And Troy, we talked about Rodriguez in the pregame show. The 4th highest hitting percentage in the NAC coming into today, a .299 mark. So far today, Cougars have done a good job limiting her, a 143 attack percentage. So Cougars so far shutting down Rockford's star players. They get a point there within the end line.
Yeah, some miscommunication there between Ross and Atwell, the defensive side for the Regents, and they're going to take a timeout here.
So Rockford using their first timeout as, again, up 10-4 at one point. They're now up just 11-10 over the Cougars. So we'll take a breather up here in the booth as well. And when we're back on the Cougar Sports Network, we'll have more set 2 action. Regents on top of the Cougars, 11-10. Timeouts breaking up here as CUC has clawed their way back into this second set. Down by 6 at one point. They now trail by just 1, 11-10 as Shira Marin goes back to serve out of the timeout. Marin, Haywood, Vernango, Foley, Dickin, Brown on the court for CUC right now. As getting herself a kill is Mia Rodriguez. Just talked about how she's having a quieter night. She responds nicely with a kill. Rockford back up by 2, 12-10 as Crooks goes back for a serve.
Kind of hard to tell from up here exactly maybe, but Vernango and Haywood kind of in the similar spot down here, the wing of the three-point line.
As Brown, a massive swing way out of bounds. As is now 13-10 in favor of Rockford. You like the effort from Brown on that swing, but you got to know when to be able to take it off the ball. Take a little off your swing, I should say.
I think one of those you hit it kind of at the wrong spot in the air. You hit it not as your swing's going down, but a little earlier in the swing. So the arc and the trajectory of the ball is kind of headed up and out rather than down.
Fernango, she goes for Brown, who remedies that errant attack. It gets a point there, brings the Cougars back within 2, 13-11.
Yeah, really nice court vision there by Acacia Brown, understanding where the regents were, able to just tip it right past him. Really had no shot of trying to receive that ball.
Katie Hadel to serve, number 22 in maroon. Her serve is good. Atwell, Crooks. And too much on that one off the hands of Tamsy Leverton. Sophomore out of Davis, Illinois, number 8 in purple. And the Cougars back within 1 now, 13-12. Hadel to serve once more. The serve. Atwell catches her up around the biceps, still able to play it. And that one just over the net, falling backwards and getting the dig was Fernango. And Brown slams it down. We are tied here in set 2. That one gets the crowd pumping.
Yeah, real close to the 10-foot line there. An awesome swing by Acacia Brown. She knows it. Her team knows it. Everybody in Geisman knows it. A really nice play there to even it up at 13.
Katie Heidel serving again as Rockford has to send a freebie over. Haywood now pops it up for Foley, who sends a high arcing attempt that Atwell is able to stop. As Haywood, she can't do much on that attempt. Got a hand on it, but Rockford, they retake the lead here, 14-13. Serving for Rockford is Melody Moreno. Fernango to Brown. Soft floater that Rockford's able to handle. Whistle blown. And Rockford committing the violation. 14-14 the score. Livesay to serve. As Rockford, a one-handed attempt from Rodriguez. Cougars able to stop. Now Haywood, her attempt goes nowhere. As falling down to the ground to get it was Hadel. Marin. As Crooks now sets up Rodriguez. Haywood able to keep it alive. Here comes Livesay, a strong back row attempt that goes nowhere. As whistle blows, violation on Rockford, and the Cougars, they're gonna take the lead here for the first time in set 2, 15-14.
That was a really good swing there by Rachel Livesay from the back row there, and although she didn't necessarily get the kill, it kind of sent the Regent scrambling back and then towards the net. She makes another heads-up play there. Oh, and they're gonna call a touch at the net.
So Rockford thought they had one, but CUC got some mitts on it. Some paws, probably be more appropriate, as Nia Rodriguez. Her serve going down for is Livesay, and then Fernango. Here's Marin. Crooks. Marin again. Fernango to Haywood. A little floater. Crooks gets a hand on it. Could have been a bad pass. Instead, Rockford able to keep it alive. All the way into the corner for it. And the ball still alive somehow. Took a favorable spin off the net as there's a block up front. Shutting the door, Acacia Brown, and the Cougars retake the lead 16-15.
Yeah, a strong second set here as we're going to see Bethany Rotho come in to serve for Acacia Brown. She heads to the bench. Her teammates are loving her performance here. She gets the Cougars back on top here, 16-15. Here's Rothel serving left to right.
As Rockford goes down for it and not able to get it back up. Service ace Rothel. And the Cougars a multi-point lead. First time we've seen this in set 2. Rothel's second straight serve. Played by Rockford. Brashaw put right back, interface by Vernango. And the Cougars up by a trio of points now. 18-15 as the freshman Rothel serves once again. Rothel serve. Popped up by Moreno. Here's an attempt from Burton, and it'll go the way of Rockford. As they pull back within 2, they stop the Cougars' mini run.
They say we can play off the ceiling, but I guess we can't play off the wall tonight.
Kind of a weird construction in Geisman as you have a part of the ceiling hanging lower on the left side of your screen. That's where all the championship banners are hung. And like Troy said, I guess that does not count as the ceiling, as Cougars get another point here, back up by 3. Vernango ready to serve. Isabel Vernango, the senior setter for the Cougars. Coach Palmer described her as the quarterback of the offense in his weekly interview yesterday. You can find all those interviews on our YouTube page, CUC Sports. As Marin's going to set up Haywood perfectly. Grace Haywood finishes the play. Cougars hit point number 20 as Rockford needs to call a timeout and gather themselves. They've led for most of this set, now down by 4 as we take a break here as well. When we come back on the Cougar Sports Network, the Cougars on top of the Regents, 20-16.
We appreciate you tuning into today's game. To stay up to date on all things CUC women's volleyball, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CUC_volleyball. We'll see you on campus soon.
About 15 seconds left in the timeout. Rockford has made their way back to the court as they trail the Cougars 20-16. CUC now just breaking up their huddle. And Troy, we've seen almost an inverse in the second set as what we saw in the first set. First set, Cougars led for a majority of it. And then as we got past the 15-point mark, tables turned a little. Rockford took the lead for good. And same thing happened in this set, except it was Rockford who led for most of it. Cougars able to come all the way back. They've turned the tables now. They're up 20-16.
Yeah, Cougars playing with a little bit more energy here. And unlike the block by Eve Dickin, unlike the first set, Peter, the errors are identical here. Both teams have 6 in this first set. The second set, the first set, it was 9-4. The Cougars led in errors, so kind of balancing that out allowed the Cougars to get back in this game here. And they're playing with a ton of energy right now.
Haywood, a strong shot, an absolute rocket. Takes the bounce off of Landberg, and the Cougars 3 away now from point 25. Serve from Vernango hits the net, so Rockford, thanks to an unlucky serve, gets the ball back after a 3-0 run from CUC. Cougars up 22-17 now. Serve from Ross, popped up by Marin to Vernango. Here comes Haywood. Popped all the way up by Landberg. She wasn't going to get beaten by a Haywood rocket again. Instead, she gets beaten by a Dickin rocket as Landberg couldn't handle a second straight hard attempt. And it is now 23-17.
A strong second set here out of Eve Dickin. She's got 3 kills, a dig, and a block.
Yeah, this is the first set we've seen Eve Dickin in tonight. She spent set 1 on the bench. Now as she's getting her time here in set 2, she's making the most of it. Cougars up 23-17. Cooks. That attempt, no good. Here comes Bockhurst, a little floater I meant to say. Rockford able to get under it. Now Vernango, she's gonna go to Foley. It's popped up. Rockford still in control. That one popped up in the air by Melody Moreno, giving the Cougars enough time to work with it. However, they send their attempt out of bounds, and it is now 23-18. Atwell, the serve. Marin. Vernango. She decides to go to Dickin, who almost gets a kill. Rockford, some good defense. They keep it going. Haywood. Here's Vernango to Bockhurst. Popped up by Landberg. Atwell, she sends it over. Cougars looking for point 24 here. They get it. Atwell, she got a hand on it the last second, but Rockford not able to clean up the rebound. And because of that, it is now set point for the Cougars as Shai Marin serves.
Acacia Brown returns for Concordia here.
Marin, her serve eventually turns into a one-handed attempt from Cooks. Now Haywood, a back row attempt that hits the net. Rockford 24-19 in favor of CUC. Rockford within 5. They need to get 5 more points here in a row. Cougars looking to close out set 2. As going back to serve is Crooks. Savannah Crooks, her serve is good. Here come the Cougars. And this one goes out. So Rockford, they hit point 20 now. Just like the Cougars, they made set 1 a match before Rockford clinched it. Rockford now returning the favor here. Giving the Cougars some trouble in the end of set 2. Vernango, here comes Foley. Blocked up front for the point. Rockford, they're not done yet. And you could see Coach Palmer on the bench kind of signaling to his team to calm things down. They just need 1 point here, Rockford. They need 3, however. Serving is Crooks. It's a high arc on it. Vernango. Here comes Dickin, and it is down for the end of set 2. Eve Dickin clinches set 2 with her kill, and the Cougars even up the match at 1 set apiece. So that's how we're going to head to set 3, as one of these two teams is going to look to take the lead in the match. We'll have more on that when we're back in just a minute on the Cougar Sports Network. Regents Cougars all tied up at 1. We're all tied up here in Geisman, 1 set apiece as the Cougars and Regents get ready to go to set 3. Cougars taking set 2, 25-21. And Troy, as I said before, what we saw in set 1, we saw again in set 2, except the roles were reversed. Rockford led most of set 2. CUC coming back at the very end, or towards the end, I should say, able to clinch it. Let's look over some of the stat leaders before we head back to the game. In terms of kills, Grace Haywood, she leads all players with 9. And then occupying spots 2, 3, and 4 are all Cougars. Eve Dickin and Kate Foley both have 5. Acacia Brown with 4. The most a Regent has is 3, which Brashaw, Moreno, Burton, and Rodriguez all have. In terms of assists, who else? Isabel Vernango, 22. She's also the only player in the entire match with double-digit assists. And as for digs, it will be 13, the magic number. Shire Marin, 13 digs, leads all players. Right behind her, however, is Grace Haywood with 12. So the buzzer goes off, which means we're getting ready for set 3, but Troy, we saw set 1, Rockford able to take it towards the end. Set 2, CUC taking it towards the end. What's going to be the separator here in set 3 for one of these two teams to really pull away from what has been a close match all the way through?
Well, you're looking for one of the two teams to be just a little bit more consistent. You know, we talked about errors, we've talked about blocks, we've talked about communication. So it's kind of all of those things, and you want either the Cougars or the Regents to kind of be at their A game in all of those areas, not just one specific area, for an extended period of time, right? Enough time to control and win a set. So we've seen a Rockford take the first set, we've seen the Cougars take the second, but we've seen the teams play well in both of those. The teams play poorly in each of those first 2 sets. So this third set could go the same way, or we may see a team just dominate for the duration of the set. Here we go.
Well, both teams may be feeling each other out during the first 2 sets. Now they get ready for set 3. Whoever wins this set will be just one more set win away from claiming the match, as Rockford, they'll start this set on the back foot. Cougars taking the first point. 1-0, CUC up as Livesay to the service line. Rachel Livesay hits the top of the net and still gets into the hands of Rodriguez. Blocked up front by Brown. Troy, I've been making the Acacia Brown women's basketball team tryout case all season long, and she's not doing any favors to herself to deny that case. She gets a big block there. I think she'd look right at home during the winter here at Geisman.
That's her 3rd block of the night here.
As Haywood, she gets a kill, and Troy, we might have found that team that you talked about coming out and just dominating. CUC taking the first 3 points in pretty convincing fashion as Livesay back to serve again.
Now you're just looking for the Cougars to sustain that for the duration of this 3rd set here.
Rodriguez's attempt is stopped by Heidel, as that's a misread on Rockford's part. As we saw a little bit of jawing at each other between Atwell and Burton over that miscommunication, and because of it, Rockford, they're going to have to take a timeout now. They've fallen into a quick 4-0 hole against the Cougars in set 3. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, Cougars up early here in set 3. Timeout ends a little bit early here as both teams say we're ready to go. Cougars, they should be extra ready to go. They're up 4-0 here as they look to continue this momentum in set 3. Livesay, her serve. Rockford trying to get a point here, and they almost do. Katie Heidel, what a dig. It says defensive specialist for a reason, as that strong attempt stays just inside the line as it tipped the Cougar. So Rockford able to get on the board, but what a defensive play from Katie Heidel. Again, listed as a defensive specialist, falling down on her back basically, still gets the one-handed dig.
Cougars just now realized that the point was going to Rockford there.
Again, it was called a tip off CUC as Fernango double hits it, so another Rockford point. 4-2 now as Rockford, a well-called timeout. 2 straight points out of it. They've cut the lead in half. 4-2 now. Moreno, her serve is heading over to Haywood, and that one, is out. Another
Correction.
Rockford point, and there's a correction. The line judge on the left side of your screen, he said it was in. The ladder judge called it a Rockford point and then decided to take over at the line official. So instead of a 4-3 game, we have a 5-2 game in favor of the Cougars as Rothel checks back in to serve. She's been largely a serving specialist tonight. Her serve is a good one. Cooks to Burton, and falling for the dig is Heidel. She's making a really good case to be the best defensive player on the court tonight. However, the Cougars aren't able to stop that one. 5-3 now. Heidel's been all over the place. Jumping and diving. Able to get a total of 10 kills. One of the few players in double digits, but on that one, no Cougar can do anything about it. A perfectly placed hit at the feet of Rachel Livesay. So 5-4 the score now as Rodriguez back to serve. Rodriguez, a team leading 4 kills, and she'll get a service ace on that one.
Out of the timeouts, the Region's on a 5-1 run here.
Again, a very well-called timeout. You always hear about the timeout point. Whoever calls a timeout usually gets a point coming out of it because they have a game plan, or maybe they're a little bit fired up after the timeout as Shira Marin tried to get that one away from Livesay, and because of it, some miscommunication, and the Cougars, they now find themselves down 6-5. Rodriguez to serve, Livesay there. Here comes Vernango. She just sends it over. That little trick play that she loves so much. And another point. Brashaw. She'll tie for the team lead now with 4 kills off the hands of Bockhurst and down. And Rodriguez isn't done serving just yet. Rodriguez's serve. Heidel takes it. Vernango to Haywood, and that is in the lines. Cougars end the bleeding. Back within 1, 7-6.
That's a big point there. The Cougars needed to get some momentum back on their side.
Vernango ready to serve. Cougars down by 1 after being up by as much as 4 in the early goings of set 3. Cooks. She finds Burton blocked up front by Dickin. It heads out of bounds, however. 8-6, the score now in favor of the Regions. Serving now for Rockford is Landberg. Marin sends it to Dickin. Dickin, middle of the court. Bacher sends a free ball over. Cooks to Brashaw. She finds open space. 9-6.
Split the block right there between Bockhorst and Dickin. And that's tough for the defensive players in the back row there when you've got hands up.
Almost acts as a screen to yourself as you're not seeing the ball clearly until it's through the blockers.
Well, not only that, you're expecting some hands on that ball, covering certain lanes where you guys are not aligned in the back row. So sometimes when that ball gets through the block, it's a tough task for those players in the back row to get hands on it to dig those kills.
Meanwhile, Cougars get a point back, pull within 2, 9-7. As Grace Haywood set to serve. Haywood, a game-leading 12 kills. She already has a double-double with 12 digs as well across 41 total attempts. Cooks behind the head play there. She wasn't even looking at the Cougars when she sent it their way. Cougars able to read it, however, send it back to Rockford, and then Brashaw, bad touch on it. And CUC back within 1 now, as 8 will be serving 9. Haywood again. Still looking for her first service ace on the night. This is a Cougars team who, coming into the match, had 2.5 service aces per set, and that ranks second in the NAC. So far tonight, they're sitting at just 2, so well below their mark as Rockford kept it alive a little longer, but just delaying the inevitable as they let the Cougars tie this one up 9-9. 9-9 the score as Haywood set to serve. Sends it over. A strong serve right to Atwell, the libero. Here comes Burton, Marin. Vernango now. She decides to go to Foley, and she decides correctly. Kate Foley executing the kill. And the Cougars, they take the lead back here in set 2, 10-9 now. And set 3, excuse me, as Haywood to serve once more. Well, Cooks. He goes for Brashaw, 50-50 ball. Cougars touch it first. Another one. Bockhurst gets there. And Rockford running into the 4-touch rule. CUC up by 2 now, 11-9.
There's a constant pressure there by the Cougars, just tipping that ball back over on those 50-50 balls at the net. It was Foley, and then it was Bockhurst who eventually gets the Cougar point.
Too much sauce on that serve from Haywood. 11-10. As Kira Ross comes in to serve for the Regents. Ross, so far tonight, 3 service aces. And it does not look like she'll get one here. Instead, bit of an errant pass. Landberg, she's able to get it. Marin to Vernango, 50-50 ball going airborne for it was Bockhurst. And this one touches ground, and we are tied back up here in Concordia, 11-11. Rockford tying up the game as Kira Ross is waiting to serve as we get a quick sweat towel break. A little bit sticky here in Geisman tonight. Not the hottest this gym has been. I don't think anything will compare to that Lake Forest College game. Absolutely sweltering in Geisman. As we're ready to resume action. Ross now for Marin. Here comes Vernango to Dickin. Dickin hits the net. So Rockford, they retake the lead now. 12-11. Some back and forth here in set 3. As we are nearing the midway points of the set. Ross. Her serve, too much on it. It goes out. Back even at 12 apiece. Well, back here on the Cougar Sports Network, sorry for some technical difficulties as we're working things out on our end. Meanwhile, on the court, Rockford, they've taken a 17-13 lead over the Cougars. CUC serving as Katie Hadel set to do the honors. Number 22 in maroon sends it over. Atwell for Ross. Moreno, her attack is stopped, and then Isabel Vernango can't quite get enough on it, as it is now 18-13 in favor of the Regents.
Unfortunate break for the Cougars. Vernango kind of ran right into the back of Acacia Brown there at midcourt, unable to get a set out to Foley there.
Hadel able to handle the serve as Acacia Brown, a very strong attempt there. I think that's something that we're learning about Acacia Brown, Troy, is that when she uncorks one, she is an absolute rocket coming out of that arm.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen Acacia Brown put a really good swing on a ball here tonight.
All right. Back here again on the Cougar Sports Network, still working through some technical difficulties up here. As hopefully we have a smooth broadcast from here on out. If not, we'll work with it as we go. Meanwhile, the Cougars, they're trying to work with it as they go. They're down by 5 here in set 3, 20-15. Again, the winner of this set will take a 2-1 set lead in the match, which means they can clinch it in set number 4. Both teams looking for their first conference win. As CUC on the attack, blocked up front, so Cougars back at it. Haywood sends this one over the blocker's hands. Rockford gets a piece of it. So point CUC, 20-16. Serving is Rothel. As the 50-50 ball, Cougars get control. Rockford now pushes it over. Rothel to Vernango. Here comes Haywood. Atwell. Cooks now. She hands it off. As this ball drops out of bounds. Last touch, CUC. 21-16 in favor of Rockford as they're looking to clinch this second set, put themselves in a position to win. Rodriguez. Haywood. Her attack goes for a kill. And going back to serve is Vernango now. Cougars down by 4.
Eve Dickin will return to the game for the Cougars. A strong second set for her.
Cooks now for Burton, who gets the kill. 22-17. As we get a sweat break here. And that seems to be the problem area, Troy, right in the middle of the Cougar side of the court. Should be pointed that whoever's been on the left side of the court has won every set so far. We're only 2 sets in, but I don't know if that's a scientifically large enough sample, but
probably not. You know, that's what they teach in science, is it's all about the sample size, and the higher the sample size, the more accurate the investigation really is. But
well, granted, I've been taking a science class since junior year of high school. I'm a junior here at CUC now, so it's been a hot minute. That science class is also environmental science, so take that as you will. Either way, back on the court, the Cougars still have some work to do. 23-17, and that's going to force a Coach Palmer timeout as his squad is down by 5 late in set number 3. So, Troy, let's keep it here. I think we've spent enough time off air right now. I mean, what needs to happen here for the Cougars to turn the set around? Again, not that 2-1 comeback is impossible by any means, but you really want to avoid falling in that hole just because of how close this game has been. So what's going to be the magic touch for CUC here?
It's interesting because you look at the statistics. They're actually playing a cleaner third set than they did a second set. They played a cleaner second set than they did a first set. They only have 3 errors here. They're hitting at 200, which is above what they have been. And even for the Regents, only hitting 162, a little bit above what they've been. But if you look at the Regents, it's been kind of an equal all the way around. They have 4 players with 5 kills apiece. The Cougars as well do Haywood with 15, Dickin and Foley with 6, and Acacia Brown with 5. So you're looking for the Cougars to kind of slow down the offensive attack here by Rockford, as their hitting percentage and kills are significantly up this set here, this third set. So you've got really only one more point here to play with for the Cougars before they have to make a run back into this third set.
Landberg, Vernango. Here comes Haywood, and that way too much mustard on that attack, as it is now a set point for Rockford in a pivotal set 3. Cougars down by 7. As ready to serve is Landberg once again. Cougars need to go on a 7-0 run, and it gets off to a good start. Service error from Landberg.
Yeah, good communication there, something the Cougars have lacked early on in tonight's match. But
Haywood
Marin there.
Excuse me, Haywood set to serve. There we go. 3 names flying around here. I think we should probably just let each other finish our sentences.
That's all good.
As Burton tries to end the set. She won't yet. Dickin now. She gets that one off the blocker's hands. Still alive here. As a falling dig from Haywood. She's back up on her feet as Kate Foley sends a freebie over. Moreno there for Cooks. Here comes Burton. Tipped at the net by Eve Dickin. Cougars not done just yet. Coach Palmer, he called for a 2-touch on the bench. No love from the officials. Foley pops up the attack as here comes Haywood, a little floater. Rockford, they're still alive. A back row attempt and out the back row as another long volley. Not quite the marathon we saw in that 48-touch volley in set 1, but another lengthy one, and the Cougars once again come out on top.
Got to have 5 straight here for Concordia to climb back into this one.
Haywood, she's looking to add on. Cut down that 5 points needed as that's blocked up front. Eve Dickin says hello, gets the job done blocking, and the Cougars hit the 20-point mark, down by 4. Going on a little run here as Haywood back to serve once more, hopefully for some more times after this as well. The serve is a good one. Landberg, excuse me. Here comes Burton, and that is out. CUC exploiting the Rockford mistakes, and that'll be a timeout for the team in purple. They were up 24-17 at one point. Now it's 24-21. CUC, though, the comeback is not complete yet. They need 3 more points to tie this one up. It's set 3. We'll see what they come up with out of the timeout when we come back on the Cougar Sports Network in just a minute. Rockford back on the court. They're ready to go. They need just one more point to take a 2-1 lead in the match. Meanwhile, the Cougars, they talk things over a little longer in desperation mode. They need 3 straight points. They needed 7. They've gotten that number down to 3 now. 24-21 as Grace Haywood set to serve. Haywood. Her serve is good. A falling Landberg pops it up. As here's a freebie sent to over. Vernango. And Eve Dickin, it's blocked at the line as there's an extremely strong hit from Cooks. I don't really know what the intention of that one was. Whatever it may be, it results in the Concordia point, 24-22.
Yeah, probably just trying to place that one in the back left corner there. Unfortunately for Rockford, she got a little bit too much on it, ended up near the Cougar bench.
Haywood, another good serve. She's been doing good work back there. As here's a block up front from CUC. Haywood able to pop it up as Eve Dickin. Cooks falling. Atwell lets Burton handle it. As, Bockhurst kept it up. An attempt from Foley. Now Rockford trying to end this set. Do they? And they do not. Violation on Rockford. 2-touch rule. And the Cougars are knocking on the door. 24-23. 6 straight points for CUC. Pressure on for Concordia. Rockford as well. They were up 24-17. As here's a strong attempt that goes out. Last touch, Rockford. And we are tied up here in set 3. Oh my goodness, the Cougars, a 7-point run. It was necessary, and they pulled it off.
They needed 7, they got 7, but they need 9 to win.
You got to win by 2 in extra volleyball, which is what we're in. 24-24, Atwell. Cooks, here comes Burton. Haywood to Vernango, now to Foley. It goes out, no touch by Rockford, so CUC backs against the ropes once again, 25-24. They got 7 points in a row. Now they need just 1 to tie it up again. Meanwhile, Rockford, they're looking to close out this set finally as Vernango sets up Eve Dickin. Landberg, 50-50 ball, and it ends on the ground for Rockford. CUC completed the 7-point comeback, and in the end, Rockford able to take care of things in extra volleyball, which means they are now up 2-1 in the match. So as we take a break here, Cougars, they'll talk things over. They have to win set 4. It's now win or go, leave the court with a loss. Almost said go home. Win or lose now for the Cougars as we get ready for set 4 action. We'll be back in just a minute on the Cougar Sports Network.
Concordia University Chicago is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
Win or lose set here for the Cougars. Win or lose the match set, I should say, as they trail Rockford 2-1 as we head to set number 4. How about we go over some of the team stats before we head back to action. Cougars lead the attack numbers 140 to 135. They also lead kills 36 to 26, as well as attack errors 24 to 21. Though, Troy, we've seen that number really tighten up after CUC left set one, a big disadvantage in that number. Hit percentage, neither team is hitting at 100. Cougars at .086, while Rockford at .037. Assists, Cougars 34 to Rockford's 23. Service error 7 to 5 in favor of Rockford. They have the 5, the less amount. Service aces 9 to 2, a huge jump for Rockford. Digs 80 to 69 for CUC. Blocks 9 to 6 for CUC. And Troy, when you look at that team stat comparison, you might think that CUC actually would be on top. They're leading a lot of those stats, kills, attacks, hitting percentage, 8 assists, digs. But instead, it's Rockford. They're the ones on top, 2 to 1 now, as we get set for set 3. So, Troy, we kind of talked about the end of the last set, but what's going to be the magic here for CUC coming into this set? We've seen how these sets have gone. CUC took a big lead in set 1, lost it. Rockford took a lead at the beginning of set 2, lost it. Set 3, CUC took a lead and then ended up losing it. So other than maybe some reverse psychology and letting Rockford take a lead to start, what does this team need to do to pull out the win here and send us to set 5?
Well, I think right now it's all about timing, and unfortunately for the Cougars, you don't have a ton of time left to play with. But when you look at those statistical categories, like you mentioned, the Cougars do lead in a lot of those areas, but it's just like, most sports, if you can't complement those things in the right way and at the right time, a lot of those statistical categories don't matter when they stand alone. You got to have all of them going at once. So Haywood's going to serve there. Cougars going to get on the board by a hitting error. So number 12, Grace Haywood, will serve again for the Cougars.
Haywood, a game-leading 15 kills, 17 digs, a double-double for number 12 in maroon. As she's going to get a service ace here, her first of the night. She continues to fill up the stat sheet. 2-0 the score. In favor of CUC here in set 4. They need to win this one to keep it going. Rockford have lost 24 straight games to the Cougars, dating back to the early 2000s. CUC now has to play some really good volleyball in order to keep that streak alive, as that won't cut it there. An attack error makes it 2-1. Still in favor of the Cougars, but Rockford gets control of the ball now. Serving for Rockford is Moreno. Moreno serve is a good one. Haywood now to Vernango. Here comes Kate Foley, blocked up front, and it's out. Point CUC, up 3-1. Marin to serve. Marin listed as a junior, but this is her first year in the maroon and gold. The serve is sent over. Rockford, they sent over a free ball. Vernango to Acacia Brown. Acacia Brown's been quiet as of recently. Cougars look to get number 1 in maroon back in action. Foley, a strong attack. Atwell can't control the rebound, and it is now 4-1 in favor of CUC.
Well, in the last set, the Cougars jumped out to a 4-0 lead before the Regents came back to make it 5-4 Rockford. So we'll see if Concordia can kind of extend this lead early in this fourth set here, or if Rockford can do what they did last time and come back early.
Yeah, Rockford was down 4-1. They're going to be down 4-0 in set 3. They're going to be down 5-1 now here in set 4 when they were down 4-1. Timeout was called. They came out a brand new ball team. So we'll have to see what they do here as they trail 5-1. Might see another timeout coming up soon for the team in purple, as Crooks hands it off to Burton. Blocked up front. It's ended up back on CUC side. Here comes Foley off the blocker's hands. Moreno in the back row, able to get a piece of it. Now an attack from there. Haywood for Vernengo. Here comes Acacia Brown off the blocker's hands and out. CUC continues to build their lead 6-1. Kind of got to figure that timeout is being eyed right now.
That's Acacia Brown's 6th kill, tied her for 3rd most in tonight's action between both teams.
Haywood leads with 15, and then at 8 is Kate Foley. Rockford, they get on the board here, get back on the board here, 6-2. As ready to serve is Amelia Rodriguez. Rodriguez has been quiet relatively tonight. 6 kills. She came in 4th in the conference in hitting percentage as a errant swing there from Brown leads to a CUC error and a Rockford point. 6-3 the score.
It looked like maybe she thought that ball was going past her to Foley. Just went up kind of for a fake there. Ended up closer to her maybe than she thought.
Point. CUC 7-3 the score now as CUC continues their hot set 4 start. A must-win set for the team in maroon. They're looking to come out of this game 1-1 in conference play. So is Rockford. Both teams lost their opening conference game. CUC to WLC and Rockford to CUW as Rockford gets a point, looking to avoid the Concordia sweep. Coming into the game now is Landberg. Landberg, a decent amount of serving so far tonight. Out of it, she's gotten herself no service aces, but 11 digs on the game. As Acacia Brown, a rocket, it does not stay in, however.
Cougars beg for a touch, but do not get it.
And Rockford back within striking range, 7-5. Landberg to serve again. A strong serve. Katie Heidel plays it at the very back of the court. Here comes Brown, another strong attempt. That one's out as well. 7-6 now. Serving Landberg once more. 6 serving 7. Fernango. Here's Foley. Blocked up front. That one ends in the hands of the ladder official, and we are tied up here in set 4. Coach Palmer getting a little more involved on the sideline. I think he's eyeing that timeout as Rockford on a 4-0 run. Shire Marin goes down for the day. Here comes Foley, and that one is out as well. Cougars just putting too much on the ball right now, and because of it, we get a timeout from Coach Palmer. The Cougars, they were up 6-1 at one point, now trail 8-7. So as the Cougars take a break, so will we up here in the booth. When we come back, Rockford on top of CUC 8-7 on the Cougar Sports Network. Eight to 7, Rockford leads here in set 4 as we get ready to resume play here in Geisman. Want to shout out everyone making tonight's production possible before we get back to the action. Wyatt McLaughlin working the scoreboard. At libero is Kate Johnson. Emily Balban helping out with stats. Chandler Kerr spotting. On camera, we have Abby Cooling producing Sydney Lloyd and also producing Janie Turnes under the direction of Sydney Ploskaslaher and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. As a strong attempt from Acacia Brown gets CUC to knot this one up 8-8. Livesay now, this one into the Concordia bench, and Haywood able to send the freebie over in the end as this ball goes out of bounds, and the Cougars earn the point. They look to be inches away from losing that one. Instead, they get it and take the lead, 9-8.
Yeah, really good effort there by Shira Marin. Knowing exactly where the bench is, she's able to tiptoe right to it and stick her fist out at the last minute to get that ball back in play.
Now here comes Haywood, a flying attempt, ball still up. Atwell going back for it. Cooks now sends it over. Hadel, here comes Brown, a little floater, no good. And whistle blown, two-touch rule called on the Regent, so the Cougars up by a pair now. See that timeout effect coming into play once again. Cougars up by 2, 10-8. Atwell, Brashaw, and the Cougars get control back. Haywood, she sends it over, and Cooks is right there. Now Rockford trying to make something happen. Atwell sends over a soft one as Vernago just tries to flip it over. No good. Rockford, they were on the lookout for that. Block up front. Ball still alive. Multiple Cougars on the ground, and they can't avoid the 4-touch rule. A good effort there. They run themselves into the violation. Rockford back within 1, 10-9.
It was really good effort there once again by the Cougars, and you like to see that for a team down 2-1 here in this fourth set, knowing that they have to give it their all to get back in this game. So they're really playing hard. Both sides are right now for the Regents to secure a victory, but for the Cougars to fight back in this one and avoid it in set 4.
10-10 the score after Rockford lets that ball go out, as both teams now 15 points away from claiming set 4. Rockford 15 away from a win. Cougars 15 away from forcing set 5. So here comes Moreno. A soft one. Hadel, falling dig. Now Atwell decides to play it. That one might have been out of bounds. Instead, she goes for it. Haywood puts it back in play for Brown, and she sends that one right to the Rockford coach, as it's now 11-10 in favor of the Regents. Consistency, Troy, is going to be the key here for the Cougars. We see both teams going on some very extreme runs. So it might come down to who gets that last run here tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. And you're looking from both sides here. You're like, oh, please let it be us. Please let it be us. Well, it's going to be whoever earns it here in these last. Both teams 14 points away now from reaching the magic number, like you talk about, 25. Here's the freshman to serve.
Rothel came back in to serve. Blocked up front by Bockhurst and Haywood. It goes out of bounds, however. Point Rockford, as they're up 12-11. Atwell. First serve to Livesay, now to Vernago. Haywood, a floater. Cooks, a strong push back into Concordia territory. Haywood, a strong attempt. Does it touch anyone? It does not. Point Rockford, 13-11 the score.
The instruction here from Coach Campbell from the sideline is cross court here. So let's see if the Cougars on their next attack here maybe go from top to bottom.
Haywood, a strong attempt, blocked up front between Rodriguez and Cooks. Haywood instead sends a floater, not enough on it as it ends up in the net, 15-11. Both teams, 14-11 should be the score. I believe the scoreboards in the gym are incorrect. It is 14-11. Now a high pop fly from Atwell. Moreno and Vernago. Her attack is good. Point Cougars, 14-11. Vernango to serve. Cooks here for Moreno. Marin to Haywood, popped up as point goes to CUC, back within one, 14-13. Serving 14, CUC again needs to win this set to force a set 5. Cook sets up Moreno, goes cross court, no touch by CUC. So Rockford point, Moreno arguing a Cougar did touch it. She gets no love from the ladder official. And we got a brand new ball game here in set 4, 14-14. Vernango. Her serve hits the top of the net. The error brings Rockford 10 points away from clinching tonight's matchup. Cooks ready to serve. There's serve played by Marin, and miscommunication there. No Cougar even close in the vicinity. Vernango might have just gotten a bad piece of it too, and that's going to force a timeout from Coach Palmer and his squad as they trail the Regents by a pair here in set 4. A must-win set for CUC, while Rockford trying to break their 24-game losing streak to the Cougars. We'll have more set 4 action when we're back in just a minute on the Cougar Sports Network.
Fans, thanks for tuning in to today's game. For more information about the women's volleyball program, head to CUCougars.com. We hope to see you at our next game.
Well, Cougars down by a pair in a must-win set 4. Rockford up in the match 2-1, up in the set 16-14. As this fourth set, largely a back and forth affair. Each team trading multi-point runs as the Cougars need to go on one here. Need to go on one here now. As Eve Dickens sends one up. And Marin now gets the ball back for the Cougars. And that block goes over the head of the ladder official. He's able to weave out of the way successfully, and the Cougars get a point out of it. 16-15. Got to have your heads up there when you're...
That was a pretty athletic move there. Kind of a dodge all the way around his head, but was able to hold on to the ladder, kept his lower body sturdy.
I don't think any of his body except his head moved.
It was impressive.
Impressive work from the ladder official. That ladder official, we said his name before, but it is Zachary Wiles. Just a nice move from Zachary. As on the court, Rockford trying to expand on their 16-15 lead. Here comes Eve Dickin, her attempt. Hits a couple hands, Rockford back in control. Now falling forward is Haywood. Foley, she'll take her swing at it. Atwell's right there. There's Moreno. And Haywood gets a hand on it and sends it into the crowd. 17-15, Rockford lead. Moreno to serve. Both teams within 10 points of the 25-point mark. Rockford, they're 8 away. Moreno. Marin to Vernango to Foley. It's blocked at the net. Foley, she's able to get the rebound, and another block. 4-touch rule called on the Cougars as Coach Palmer not happy about that one. Having some words with Mr. Wiles on the ladder. As Rockford up by 3 now, 18-15. Trying to pull away here in set 4. Moreno. Haywood receives the serve. Here comes Foley. She responds with the kill. Atwell got just a piece of it. 18-16 the score.
See if the Cougars can go on a little run here. Shima Marin's going to serve left to right. The libero for the Cougars here tonight. Down by 2 here.
And Marin's serve ends up almost in the Rockford bench. They're fired up. As serving now is Rodriguez. She gets the sign from one of the assistant coaches as we get a quick sweat break here. Sweat towel break, I should say. Cougars telling their teammate Marin to shake off that service error. 19-16. Rodriguez for Haywood, for Vernango. Here comes Foley. Getting there in time is Burton, and a errant pass from Cooks. Well out of play by the time Tamsy Leverton got to it. And because of that, Cougars pull back within 4. 20-16 the score. 19-17 the score, excuse me. Again, having some difficulties with the big board up here in Geisman. So Cougars within 2. As Hadel, her pass goes nowhere. 20-17 the score now. Right as the 20 got taken off the big board here in Geisman, it got put right back up. As Moreno set to serve. Rockford 5 away from clinching the match. Vernango to Foley off the blocker's hands. Cooks now. Moreno just pops it over off her forearm. Here comes Haywood. Landberg is there. And that one off of Haywood's hands and out. 21-17 here. Coach Palmer out of timeouts for CUC. Rockford has both of theirs remaining. Hadel. Weird reception, but the Cougars make it work. Moreno now to Cooks, to Brashaw. Hadel, that almost took her out. Play still live as Isabel Vernango got a weird piece of it too. Hadel looks a little shaken up. She received that shot full force to the chest as she shakes it off. Cougars down by 5. 22-17 late in set 4. As Keisha Brown, her attempt is thwarted, but that one, too much mustard on it off of Rockford. 22-18. As Rachel Livesay checks in to serve here. Livesay, the freshman, getting some extended action tonight as she gets the signs from head coach Andrew Palmer. As here comes Burton, her attempt too strong. Cougars back within 3 now, 22-19.
The Regents are going to call timeout here as the Cougars steal a pair to get back into the game.
So Rockford, the ones to call the TO as they have seen their lead shrink down to 22-19 in favor of the team in purple. So we'll take a break here on the Cougar Sports Network, and when we come back, we'll continue with the ending of set 4 here in Geisman Gymnasium.
Finding out more about Concordia Chicago, head to cuchicago.edu for more information on our university. We appreciate you tuning in to today's game and hope to see you at CUC very soon.
Rockford on top of CUC, 22-19 here in set 4. Rockford pulls off the set win. They win the match 3-1. Cougars, they need to win this one to force set 5. Troy, we got just a couple seconds left on the timeout. What do you think Coach Palmer's saying down there in that timeout huddle to get his team to come back from this deficit?
I think just probably relax, be calm here in these final 10 minutes or so as we work out this fourth set and just, play together, communicate, but yes, really just relax and try and limit those mistakes. We saw a couple of them there where Rockford extended that lead. So here we go.
Live save serve. Received by Landberg. Blocked up front by Haywood and Brown. This one gets past the blockers and out. Point Rockford. They're 2 away. Again, if you want to know what's on the line for this Rockford team, not only is it going to be their first conference win of the year, they have not beaten this CUC team in 24 tries. 24 straight wins for the Maroon and Gold. Rockford trying to break that streak here. They're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get to match point. Grace Haywood's kill brings the score to 23-19.
So right now we've got 3 freshmen on the court for the Cougars here.
Livesay, Rothel, and Bockhurst. As Coach Palmer not afraid to go with some younger players if it means getting some different looks. Rothel, her serve is a good one. Here's Moreno. And Rothel can't get there in time, and that brings up match point for Rockford. The bench, it's a smaller bench, but it is fired up and loud as they know they are close to making history here. Atwell, her serve, played by Livesay. Vernango, here comes Haywood, blocked, and it stays in play. Hits the corner. Excellent shot from Haywood, as now Isabel Vernango heads back to the service line. No room for error for the CUC squad. Vernango's serve, as it takes a weird bounce off of Ross. Rockford able to rebound from it. Now Haywood, that one off the hands of Rodriguez. Marin for Vernango. Here comes Eve Dickin. It's blocked. Vernango's right there to clean up the mess. As Haywood, her attempt sent over. We're still alive here. Cougars are still alive. They cannot afford to give up a point. Haywood, it hits the top of the net. Multiple Regents fall to get it. Vernango for Marin. Haywood's going to get another shot at it. Falling for it is Ross. Cooks sets up Rodriguez. Haywood's right there again. They're going to go to Dickin this time, off the blocker's hands. Atwell is there. Here's Cooks to Moreno, off the blocker's hands. Marin down to grab it. Haywood, this one is into the stand. CUC not done yet. 24-22.
It was a good volley in its own right there. Again, not sure it was 48 touches or 1 minute and 17 seconds long, but a really good volley and one that the Cougars needed badly right there.
They're not done yet. They need 2 more points. Isabel Vernango. Here's Cooks now for Rodriguez. Marin is there. Vernango, she's going to go to Haywood. Off the blocker's hands. Bockhurst sets it up. Rockford wants a pin call. No good. Dickin to Atwell. Here comes Cooks. Rodriguez. And it is out. Excellent play there by Shia Marin. She was going for it. She slid. She pulled her hands back, though, to let it touch out of bounds. And that's going to force a Rockford timeout. They've seen their lead shrink down to 24-23 as for the second straight set, Troy. CUC making things very interesting when Rockford is at 24 points.
Yeah, they've done a good job of fighting back here. And like we said, out of that timeout, they needed to come out calm yet with energy, right? And they did in those last few to steal after that volley, a couple good hits. With 45 seconds to go, it's the Cougars still talking it over like has been the case throughout the duration of tonight's match.
Yeah, you usually seeing the Cougars timeout Coach Palmer steps aside for a second, lets the team talk things through, and then he inserts himself in the middle of the huddle. He talked about that as well on our Coaches Weekly interview about how he wants this team, he wants his players to step up to make the calls. And then he's willing to add his coach's touch to the very end of the formula. We'll have to see if it worked here. Cougars coming back out to the court now. Rockford, as Troy mentioned, they've been back out since about the 45-second mark left in the timeout. As Isabel Vernango is set to serve. Cougars need a point to tie. Rockford a point to win the match. 24-23, as close as it gets here in Geisman. Vernango serve. It's a high one, but it's a good one. Cooks now to Moreno. Too much on it. Tie ball game. 24-24.
Well, if nothing else, these last two sets have been really fun to watch from up here. Both tied at 24-24. We'll see how this one ends. The last one ended 26-24 for Rockford. Here we go.
Vernango. Her serve makes Ross go down to the ground. Moreno now hits some blockers' hands. There's live save. Vernango to Dickin. That one stopped by Landberg. Cooks to Marin. Cougars want to touch call. Grace Haywood says ball don't lie. Touches the inside the line. Cougars up 25-24.
Yeah, the whole crowd wanted it too. But Haywood makes them pay regardless.
And Vernango now. Cougars trying to win a must-win set 4. They're at set point. Cooks now for Rodriguez. Cougars up front with the block. Here comes Haywood, a strong attempt. It's out. Does not touch any Rockford hands. And we are tied up again, 25-25. It's going to be first to 27 now. As coming in for Rockford, we got a sub in Leverton. The serve from Cooks. Here comes Haywood, blocked up front. Haywood pushes it back up in the air for Vernango. A back row attempt from Lipsey. Hits the net. It's still alive for Rockford, but that's going to be 4-touch rule. Cougars back on top, 26-25.
Another good swing from the freshman there, number 13. She's had a few of them tonight, but that was a big one right there to give her team a 1-point lead in this set.
Haywood gives the ball a few bounces. She knows what's at stake here. 26-25. Moreno to Cooks. A strong attempt from Rodriguez. It goes untouched. Put it where no one ain't. And it's now 26-26 as Moreno goes back to serve.
That's another one where hands are up on the net, but kind of sneaks right through them and finds the court in between two back row defenders.
Moreno looking to give her Rockford team a lead here. Vernango for Foley, a strong attempt. Atwell, and slamming it down is Bockhurst. The freshman asserting her dominance. It's 27-26.
Back-to-back plays by Cougar freshmen to get them back into this game. It's something we've talked about all night long. These freshmen are playing, they're playing well, and that's super exciting and a bright spot for the Cougars tonight.
Marin, a service error. As she'll have to bounce back quickly now. 27-27, first to 29. Rodriguez set to serve. Mia Rodriguez, her serve is received by the Cougars as they send it over. Eve Dickens hit the net, and Eve Dickens slams it down. She says it's my turn, and it's 28-27.
Oh, man, this is exciting stuff up here.
Eve Dickens saw Bockhurst dunk on the last Cougar point, says I can do better, and it's 28-27. Katie Heidel to serve. Heidel serve. That's a service error. So second straight sequence, Cougars get a big point on an emphatic dunk from a player and then respond with a service error. That's not going to fly in overtime when you need two straight points.
We'll play to 30.
28-28. As Troy said, 30 is the magic number right now. Serve from Landberg, as Brown. Her attempt, stopped by Atwell. Here's a little floater. Foley's right there. Vernango now to Kate Foley. Landberg right there as here comes Burton, and that touches ground. So for the first time in extra volleyball, Rockford takes the lead. And now the pressure is all on CUC. Rockford up 29-28. Match point for the team in purple. The serve from Landberg. Down to her knees for it is Marin. Here comes Acacia Brown. It's too strong, and it's out. And Rockford breaks their 24-game losing streak against the Cougars, win the set 30-28, and win the match 3-1. And Troy, you can hear it just from their team on the court. I think they knew the history behind this matchup, and that is a huge win for the team in purple.
Yeah, it's possible they did. We may never know, but they certainly played like a team that wanted this one tonight, especially when times got tough. They got down. They went on some runs. They fought back here in extra volleyball, and like you said, they didn't even have a lead in extra volleyball until they took those 2 points right there at the end. So props to the Regents tonight for playing hard all the way through, even when they got down early on and even later on into this fourth match. So a tough one again for the Cougars to drop. They fall to 0-2 in conference play now. A loss to WLC last week and now to Rockford here at home.
Well, before we sign off here, let's go over some of the stat leaders from the night. Grace Haywood, a 20 double-double here, 21 kills, 23 digs. In terms of the Rockford kill leader, it will be Alexis Brashaw with 10 for assists. Your game leader, who else? Isabel Vernango with a whopping 45. Doing what Isabel Vernango always does. I think it's telling that number is not even surprising to see. As for digs, your leader will be Shira Marin. She comes away with 26. Also in the 20s, Grace Haywood, Isabel Vernango, and on the Rockford side, Bryn Atwell. And then in terms of total blocks, Kirsten Bockhurst, the freshman, stepping up. She had 5. That ties for the game lead with Alexis Brashaw, 5 as well. So Cougars drop this one 3-1 against the Rockford Regents. Extra volleyball in set number 4, One more time, want to thank everyone making this production possible. On scoreboard down at the scorers table, Wyatt McLaughlin. Noting the libero is Kate Johnson. Standing Emily Balaban. Our spotter for the night was Chandler Kerr. Back up here in the booth with Troy and I, Abby Kulig on camera. Sydney Lloyd and Janie Turnus producing. We're under the direction of Sydney Pulaski-Slaher and our fearless leader, Kayla McLeod. Troy Pratley joining me all night long. One more time, the Cougars, they drop this one 3-1 against Rockford. They'll be back in action this Friday at the Manchester tournament, taking on Alma College and Manchester University. Those games will be at 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. Coverage of those can be found at our website, cucougars.com. But until next time, this is Peter Borkowski sign off the Cougar Sports Network and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.